Most people are unaware that they're not merely observing reality, they're shaping it, moment by moment, simply through awareness. Here's the hidden truth. No one really teaches us this. Reality isn't something external, waiting to be discovered. It's something that comes into form as it's being observed. And this realization transforms everything. Every choice you've ever made, every moment of joy or pain, didn't happen at random. They emerged because of the energetic frequency you held and the direction of your attention, not occasionally, but consistently. Now you might ask, what does that even imply? Let's go beyond everyday understanding for a moment. At the subatomic level of existence, we enter the quantum realm, a dimension where things behave in ways that defy logic. Here, particles don't exist as solid objects. They exist as probability waves, infinite potentials until, and this is crucial, an observer collapses them. This is the essence of the observer effect in quantum physics. It's not speculation. It's an established fact. When a conscious observer directs awareness toward a quantum system, the cloud of potential condenses into a single, definite event, one outcome, one place, one version chosen out of limitless possibilities. But what if that same principle governs your daily life? What if your mental focus and emotional energy are constantly collapsing potential outcomes into your lived reality? Then the real question is, are you observing with intention or by default? This is where things get truly powerful. The observer effect isn't limited to scientific experiments. It's unfolding in your relationships, your finances, your health, because attention carries frequency. And that frequency sends an instruction to the quantum field. Let's be very clear. Your observation isn't passive. It's not random. It's an act of creation. That's why affirmations, vision boards, or visualization practices might have fallen flat, not because the tools don't work, but because they were fueled by doubt, scarcity, or urgency. You may have focused on your desires, but from an energetic place of not having them. And since the quantum field reflects consciousness like a mirror, it simply echoed that energy of lack back to you, not as punishment, but as a precise, non-judgmental response. This is where quantum mechanics intersects with spiritual truths. Ancient teachings have echoed this for centuries. As within, so without. What you seek is also seeking you. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. All these insights lead to the same core truth. Your internal state continuously paints your external experience. Now let's make this even more practical. Every time you focus on a problem and emotionally engage with it, you reinforce it. You observe it into being again. You recreate the pattern. The emotions trigger familiar actions. Those actions keep you attuned to the same frequency. And that frequency solidifies the same version of your reality, over and over again. This is why many people find themselves stuck in repetitive, familiar lives. Not because they're unmotivated or undeserving, but because they unknowingly continue to perceive the same narrative day after day. Now, picture this. What if you stopped being a passive observer and chose to become a conscious creator? What if, instead of reacting to current circumstances, you trained your body and mind to emotionally live from future potential? That's not fiction, that's quantum alignment. It's not about forcing the physical world to change. It's about tuning your energy to match the version of life that already exists in potential and doing it so clearly, so consistently, that the field has no choice but to mirror it back. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about energetic accuracy. When your thoughts and emotions are in harmony, when your inner world radiates clarity, appreciation, calm, and strength, you transform into a different type of observer. One who locks onto a new frequency. One who collapses a new reality. And here's what most people overlook. You don't need to fix your current situation before you begin. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. All that's required is for you to start observing a new reality from within. So ask yourself, which version of life are you focused on right now? Are you trapped in what is, or are you aligning with what wants to emerge? Because the quantum field isn't waiting for your life to get better. It's waiting for you to become a more coherent observer. Chances are, you've already felt something inside start to shift, not just mentally but vibrationally. You're no longer viewing life as something static, but as something reactive. And with that awakening comes greater responsibility, to be the type of observer that the universe can engage with in harmony. Here's what's real. You don't observe reality with your physical eyes. You observe with your entire energetic system, your thoughts, your emotional state, your expectations, the atmosphere within you. And this quantum field, this invisible expanse of vibrating potential, doesn't respond to vision, it responds to frequency. We're taught to believe that seeing is believing. But in the quantum world, it's the reverse. Believing with emotion and certainty is what creates the seeing. It's your inner vibration that determines which version of the world appears in your experience. Think of the universe not as a mechanical engine, but as a reflective mirror. It doesn't echo your hopes, it mirrors what your energy is broadcasting. Now, let's explore broadcasting more deeply. The strongest transmitter in your body isn't your brain, it's your heart. Research from the HeartMath Institute shows that the heart's electromagnetic field is up to 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's. Even more, this field extends well beyond your physical body. And here's the quantum connection. Your heart field communicates with the energy field surrounding you. It becomes your vibrational identity, your energetic signature. And when your heart and mind are aligned, when your feelings and thoughts are synchronized, you emit a clean signal, a consistent frequency, a finely tuned observer that the universe can respond to clearly. But when your thoughts affirm one thing, I'm abundant, I'm loved, I'm safe, yet your emotions resonate with fear, doubt, or scarcity, your signal becomes distorted. The quantum field becomes uncertain about what to reflect because your energetic message is mixed. That's why repeating affirmations without emotional resonance is ineffective. They carry no energetic momentum. They don't touch the quantum level. It's like trying to tune into a radio station with a broken antenna. The power doesn't lie in the words themselves, but in the energy they're charged with. This is the scientific foundation behind what spiritual teachers have always shared. When Neville Goddard spoke of feeling the wish fulfilled, he wasn't speaking metaphorically, he was referencing quantum-level observation. His message: become so emotionally integrated with your desired reality that there's no boundary between imagination and actual experience. And when you reach that state, reality shifts to match it. Let's bring this into everyday life. Picture this. You wake up, and before even stepping out of bed, your mind begins listing worries, bills, unfinished conversations, fears. The moment your emotions attach to those thoughts, you're locking into the version of reality that aligns with them. And your body, your nervous system doesn't distinguish between imagined stress and real danger. It immediately activates survival mode. Stress hormones flood your system, your breathing becomes shallow, and your energetic frequency drops into survival. And in that mode, potential disappears. Now imagine an alternate start. You rise, take a slow breath, place your hand over your heart, and begin to evoke a feeling of gratitude, not for something that's already manifested, but for a possibility you are choosing to anchor in now. You feel calm without any external reason. You trust, even when there's no proof. That's quantum alignment in motion. And here's the profound insight. When your nervous system feels secure, your energetic frequency expands. And when it expands, the field can finally reflect a version of life that aligns with your desire, not your fear. In that moment, you stop reacting to what is and start co-creating what could be. Most people live in reverse. They wait for their outer world to improve so they can feel better inside. But that's not how the field operates. It doesn't respond to hope. It responds to alignment. You don't wait for clarity, you become clarity. You don't wait for love, you embody it. You don't wait for prosperity, you harmonize with it. And in doing so, you shift your identity. You become the observer who no longer reacts to what was, but intentionally tunes into what now unfolds. Because here's the core truth. The quantum field contains every potential timeline, but only your presence, your emotional frequency, your conscious attention chooses which version becomes tangible. So the real question isn't, why hasn't it happened yet? The question is, am I emotionally aligned with the version of reality I wish to experience, not sporadically, but with enough consistency to collapse it into the present? Because the more consistently you operate from that state, the more rapidly the field reflects your signal. By now, the illusion has started to fade. You're no longer just a student of quantum reality. You're beginning to reconnect with the truth that you are the field in human form. But this insight opens the door to a deeper truth. Alignment isn't a destination you visit. It's a state of being you must fully inhabit. So how do you embody alignment? through consistent practice, not just repeating thoughts, but repeating observation. Because the life you're living is the echo of the identity you've been rehearsing. Whether you realize it or not, every time you entertain the same emotions, replay the same thoughts, or tell yourself the same story, you're reinforcing a specific version of you. You're imprinting a specific vibration. And the quantum field, unbiased, always responsive, simply mirrors that signal back to you. You are both the observer and the observed. And within that feedback loop, your timeline is created. Let's make this real with an example. Someone says, "I always have trouble with money." And they don't just say it once, they declare it repeatedly, emotionally, habitually. That's not just commentary, that's programming. That's anchoring an identity into the field. And the field doesn't distinguish between a passing thought and a deeply felt belief. It responds to the vibrational truth of the message. So even if that person writes, "I'm wealthy" in a journal every morning, if the dominant emotional signal is lack, the universe responds to the frequency, not the words. That's the paradox. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you're being, consistently. Neuroscience backs this up. Research in neuroplasticity shows that repeated emotional patterns form lasting pathways in the brain. Over time, those pathways become automatic. They become your identity. And the body, ever faithful, starts to produce those emotions habitually, even when nothing external is causing them. This is how patterns get cemented, not from a lack of capability, but from a lack of conscious repetition. You can't shift your identity in 5 minutes and expect decades of programming to dissolve. You have to install the new version of you with precision, with conviction, with emotional depth. That's how new realities take shape. Now, here's the liberating truth. Your future already exists in the quantum field, not as wishful thinking, but as an actual vibrational signature. There's a version of you more aligned, more fulfilled, more free, already vibrating on a different frequency. So ask yourself, what would that version focus on? What would they feel, believe, choose again and again? This isn't about faking confidence or pretending you're someone you're not. This is about resonance. Not fake it till you make it, but vibrate it until you embody it. Because the more you observe from that elevated state, the more you stabilize it in the field. And eventually, the field starts recognizing you not as a hopeful dreamer, but as a conscious creator remembering their truth. You're not chasing a dream anymore. You're aligning with a version of yourself that never let go of it. This is where the quantum meets spiritual mastery. Observation is not passive. It's not just awareness, it's a direct energetic instruction. And when it's repeated with intention and clarity, observation solidifies into identity. And that identity shapes your timeline. That's why transformation feels subtle in the beginning. The outer world might take time to catch up, but the field is already in motion, responding to your upgraded coherence. You may not witness external proof right away, but you'll feel your new self activating. You begin responding differently. Your emotions stabilize. Your need for outside approval fades. Your inner clarity strengthens. That's the confirmation. The outside world is just an echo, the true origin is within. Here's something powerful. The more you live from your future self now, the less you go searching for signs because you become the sign. You radiate the energy that others sense. You shift from chasing to attracting. And every time you consciously choose that version of you through thought, emotion, or behavior, you reinforce your signal. This is how timelines collapse, not through force, but through energetic resonance. So pause and reflect. What narrative are you repeating? What emotions are you sustaining? What version of reality are you energetically anchoring, not with your physical senses, but with your frequency? Because the quantum field doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be consistent. The harder you try to force something into being, the more you delay it, not because the universe is rejecting you, but because your energy is still transmitting doubt. This is where the observer effect is often misinterpreted. It's not merely the act of observing that shapes reality. It's the quality of your observation, and more deeply, who you are being while you observe. A stressed or frantic observer sends chaotic signals into the field. An observer attached to outcomes driven by need or desperation scrambles their frequency. Their energy is clouded by fear, their intention distorted by pressure. But a centered observer, surrendered, grounded, coherent, they don't just collapse probabilities into outcomes, they accelerate them. Because the field responds to resonance, not intensity, not effort. And resonance is clean. It doesn't plead. It radiates, "I already am," not "I hope to be." Quote, "Now let's break this down from both a scientific and spiritual lens. In quantum physics, observation collapses a wave function, transforming infinite possibilities into a single reality. But what's rarely emphasized is this: the field mirrors not just the act of observation, but the emotional energy behind it. This means when you focus through the lens of fear, worry, or urgency, you call forth a reality that reflects fear, worry, and urgency. It's not retribution, it's simply feedback. This is where surrender becomes more than a spiritual idea, it becomes a quantum tool. Surrender isn't passive, it's holding your intention clearly while releasing emotional resistance. It's knowing your desire is received and allowing the field to respond in its timing. Because forcing is static, doubting is interference, overanalyzing clogs the frequency. But when you can observe without grasping, you emit coherence. You become a clear transmission. And the clearer your frequency, the quicker the collapse of your desired reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're stuck between stations, you hear static and noise. But once you fully align with a single channel, the broadcast becomes crisp and unmistakable, and so does your life. Joe Dispenza often reminds us, the moment you feel lack, you've returned to your old identity. That's not just inspiring, it's quantum law. Because the second you feel separate from your desire, your frequency reflects that separation, and so does your reality. Now let's bring this down to a personal level. Think about a moment when you desired something so intensely that it consumed your focus. You kept imagining it, analyzing it, watching for signs, wondering if it was happening. That wasn't true observation, that was control. That was energetic attachment. And the quantum field doesn't respond well to being manipulated. Now contrast that with a time when you were in a state of peace. You still had a desire, but deep down you knew it was already yours. You felt it fully. You didn't need to chase it. You weren't searching for evidence. You trusted the process, and then it showed up naturally, effortlessly, unexpectedly. That's the essence of non-attached observation. That's the embodiment of quantum surrender. You send the signal. You become the vibration. And then you release the need to control the result, because the version of you who already lives that reality isn't wondering when. They're living it now. This is why the observer effect goes beyond science. It's a spiritual initiation. You're learning how to befriend uncertainty, how to walk with the unknown without demanding certainty, how to love what's coming so deeply that you no longer feel the need to obsess over how it arrives, because you understand the field is always listening, and you've become aligned enough to be heard. Let's ground this in a profound truth. The harder you push, the more you postpone. The more you trust, the more you align. And alignment collapses timelines faster than effort ever could. The observer effect isn't just about attention, it's about energy. It's about becoming a vibrational match, and then stepping aside so the universe can respond without interference. You're not outside the field pleading for outcomes. You are the field in motion. You're not begging for blessings, you're broadcasting instructions. And those instructions manifest not through striving, but through being. So next time you hold your vision in mind, do it with intention, do it with confidence, and then release it. Because the version of you who already embodies that future, they're not looking for evidence. They are the evidence. If this resonates with you, affirm it now, not as a hope, but as a bold declaration. I am shifting. Each day you're transmitting signals into the quantum realm, not just through words or thoughts, but through your entire presence, through your emotional state, through your identity, through how you become what you seek. This is where many people misinterpret manifestation. They think it's about projecting a message outward, but in reality, it's about embodying the message within. You are the frequency. You are the code. This insight is about anchoring that truth into your very being. Because up until now, you may have believed that reality listens to your affirmations, your visions, your wants, but the quantum field is far more accurate than that. It doesn't respond to what you say, it reflects who you are. You are always transmitting data, and that energetic data becomes instruction. The way you breathe, think, feel, sit, move it, all becomes your unique vibrational fingerprint. And that fingerprint is the precise language the quantum field recognizes and responds to. Picture this. You walk into a space filled with radio transmitters, each one scanning for a signal. The one that emits the most powerful, consistent frequency gets the clearest reception. That's exactly how your energetic field operates. If your vibration is fragmented, part of it anchored in fear, part in longing, part in lack, what you broadcast is energetic noise. And the quantum field doesn't know what to reflect. But when you align, when your thoughts, emotions, physical body, and energy all move in harmony, you transmit a clean signal, a precise instruction to reality. You're no longer just observing your world, you're directing it. Now here's the catch. That signal can't be faked. You can't act prosperous while radiating lack. You can't recite affirmations from a space of doubt and expect the field to be fooled. The universe doesn't interpret your words. It responds to your frequency. It doesn't care about vision boards or mantras, it's reading one thing, the consistency of your vibration. But here's the empowering part, you have the ability to shift that frequency at any moment. With every breath, every thought, every emotional choice, you are recalibrating your energetic blueprint. You shift not by hoping for change, but by embodying the version of you for whom that change is already real. This is where practice becomes identity. You don't visualize just to see. You visualize to feel. You feel in order to rewire. You rewire to emit. And you emit to become. Let's tie this to science. Neuroscience teaches us that neurons that fire together wire together. When you repeatedly generate states like joy, certainty, gratitude, and coherence, you're creating new neural patterns. And those patterns don't just stay in the brain, they influence your hormones, your heart rhythms, your electromagnetic field. All of it expands into your biofield and programs your quantum environment. Said another way, repetition builds resonance, and resonance becomes your reality code. But this is where many people fall short. They do the meditation but don't embody the message. They set the vision, then second-guess it by sundown. And they wonder why their life isn't shifting. Here's the truth. If the field mirrors you, you must become a stable reflection. Inconsistent energy creates inconsistent outcomes. It's precision, emotional, mental, and energetic that the quantum field responds to. Because your consistency is your command. So how do you actually live this? You behave as though the change already took root. You rise each day breathing like someone who's already free. You enter spaces like someone who owns their power. You speak with the ease of someone who trusts the flow. You no longer treat abundance, love, or opportunity like things that are missing, but like experiences that are inevitable. You start by feeling it. You choose to believe before any proof. And most importantly, you stop seeking signs because you are becoming the sign. The most magnetic individuals you've ever encountered, they're not chasing outcomes. They're fully aligned. They've settled into their center. And as a result, the field naturally reconfigures around their energy. This is your next evolution, not just learning the code, but becoming it, not repeating it like a mantra, not storing it as knowledge, but living it as truth. And here's the paradox. Once you truly embody the code, the need to control vanishes. The field steps in and responds automatically. Because when you're calibrated with clarity, the universe knows what to bring and exactly when. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what message is your energy sending into the field right now? Is it resonant? Is it harmonious? Or is it still sending mixed signals of doubt, urgency, or uncertainty? Understand this. The field isn't waiting for you to feel perfect. It's not asking for your highest energy day. It's simply waiting for your alignment. And alignment begins the moment you choose to embody the code. Let that moment be now. At a certain point on this quantum path, you stop chasing. You stop striving for a future as if it's separate from you. You stop believing you must earn what already belongs to you. And then you wake up to something extraordinary. The thing you've been seeking is already entangled with you. The only thing that ever stood in the way was the vibration of pursuit. Quantum physics reminds us, time is not a straight line. Past, present, and future all exist as probabilities waiting to be shaped through observation. Your future isn't ahead of you. It's here, pulsing in a higher energetic state, waiting for you to tune in not through struggle, but through resonance. That changes everything. Because instead of pushing toward a vision, you become still and allow the vision to find you. You don't run after your timeline. You collapse into it. This is the hidden algorithm behind every miracle moment, every jump in consciousness, every transformation that seemed to happen overnight. It wasn't because the universe suddenly approved. It was because, in that moment, you matched the frequency of the version of you who could hold it. You became that timeline, and reality mirrored you accordingly. Let's ground this even deeper. Most people live in the gap between their current self and their ideal future. That gap is made of hesitation, fear, shame, impatience, self-doubt. And the more you focus on that gap, the more it widens. Why? Because where your attention goes, energy flows. And energy collapses the version of reality you're focused on. So if you fixate on what's missing, you solidify its absence. You energize lack. But when you turn inward, when you feel it is already real, when your nervous system settles into belief, when you stop needing and start embodying, that gap vanishes. Time becomes malleable. The universe shifts its gears. You step into the timeline that's always been waiting for you. And here's the deeper truth. You're not creating something new. You're remembering something eternal. This future already lives within you. That's why it feels familiar when you imagine it. That's why it stirs something in you. You're not being naive. You're receiving transmissions from a more complete version of yourself that already exists in another frequency. Your only job now, let that version lead. And how do you do that? You let go of the timeline. You release the pressure to make it happen a specific way. You drop the mental deadlines and the need for confirmation. You stop outsourcing your peace to whether or not it's working. Because when you finally stop waiting for proof, you become the proof. And then you begin to live, not just go through the motions, but fully embody the reality as though the transformation has already happened. Not because you're faking it, but because you've immersed yourself in that energy so thoroughly, so consistently, that your body starts to recognize it as truth. And once your body believes, the field responds without hesitation. Never forget, the quantum field isn't evaluating you, it's mirroring you. Every delay you've experienced isn't a rejection. It's an invitation, a call to deeper energetic alignment. Because once you are fully aligned, when your vibration becomes unmistakable and coherent, manifestation is no longer a question. It becomes automatic. The future isn't some distant destination. It's already present. The leap you've been waiting to take? It's not a stretch across space. It's a shift within. And the miracle you're waiting for? It's not something outside of you. It's you. So as we bring this journey to a close, I invite you into a moment of stillness. Take a breath. Feel into your center. Tune into the frequency that's already vibrating in the version of you who has arrived. Because right here in this single breath is your gateway. And the version of you who already holds it all? They're only a vibration away. And if something inside you has stirred, if this message awakened a deeper knowing, don't just follow for more content. Stay connected to the frequency we're anchoring together. This isn't just information. This is a collective remembering. This is our shift in unity, in frequency, in truth.